Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here and One Angry Pagan with another Eco Flake show. Apologies for the delay. While I was actually doing something while I was waiting for One Angry Pagan. How are you? How are you today, Pagan? Are you all right?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of pain in my face is all. So.
Yeah. And I was just having a little something while I was waiting, wasn't I?
Yeah, so you normally get a little bit of ice cream.
Yeah,
Some ice cream.
I'm not gonna lie, chat. I was having some ice cream while I was waiting. I'm absolutely terrible. Like it's not exactly warm yet. Yeah, I know, but I've had there was ice cream there, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna grab some. I might as well. So apologies for the delay, guys. But I have put in the description links for the articles we're going to be looking at. We've got 7. We'll see if we get through them all. There was one we missed out last 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
It's only 2 weeks ago, our last show. There was one we missed out 2 weeks ago that we didn't have chance to cover. That I've got as well. So we'll come to that one after the first one I've got on the list. Obviously, it was one actually that I already picked, but Pagan picked it as well. So it's one that we both wanted to cover as well here. And just a quick reminder, if you're not already, do check out, if you're not subscribed to One Angry Pagan's YouTube channel, please subscribe to him. Link is in the description for his channel below. Be very much appreciative. And do check out his content, guys. He's got great stuff on there as well. Right, let's see. Is this thing why is this? It's very, very slow today. That's not a good sign. Hey, there we go. Right. So the first one we've got here is one that from the Guardian here. I've actually got quite one or two of the quite a few from articles from the Guardian, but this main one here is that reaching net zero by 2050 is cheaper for the UK than the fossil fuel crisis. So the Climate Change Committee finds the move to renewable energy would also bring health, economic, and security benefits. This really does make logical sense. You obviously have the likes of reform, and sadly, the Conservatives are now going down this path of ending net, as they like to call it, net stupid zero, which is nonsense. They don't have a solution to reducing people's energy bills. Never mind just turning to renewable energy, and this is the way to do it. And given the current crisis that's going on, and there was a story related to what's happening in the Middle East that we will come to later on in the show. Because of what's happening in the Middle East and with relations to oil, among other things, it's is going to affect our bills in one way, shape, or form. Now, right now, there are some increases, but it's not. We're not going to be like in major crisis right now. Obviously, that can change down the road. But as we change over into more renewable energy, and we actually need to be, and don't get me wrong, and Pagan will agree with me, Ed Miliband has done, it's probably been I don't think there's anyone who's been better.
Ed Miliband has been the good.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's been better than Ed Miliband when it comes to one of the few good Labour politicians, shall we say, within that government, without a shadow of a doubt. And they've been making that strides. And obviously, it's obviously very challenging for him because obviously he has to fight with the Chancellor all the time to get the money that he needs as well as convincing investors as well.
To be fair to the Chancellor, she has done as much as she can to open funds up for him. Like, I'm not like, I have my issues with Reeves, but like, she has actually done a lot. Like, and all people can remember is the stuff to do with benefits. And it's like, well, I don't like that, but unfortunately, there are a lot of voters in this country that do like that. However, she has been making funding open for the green energy transition because she knows that it's cheaper to do so. As it's saying here, he's like, whilst it's going to be expensive, it's going to be a lot cheaper than it would than it would have been, say, 5-6 years ago now, because it's now cheaper. Like, it is now cheaper to buy and set up. green energy technology. And as I say, it's cheaper than one fossil fuel crisis.
Can we reach net zero by 2050? Is that a realistic prospect considering our situation?
Yeah, I think. I mean, we said before, the trend is going against the anti-net zero. It's going against Trump. It's going against Farage. More and more investment is going towards green energy tech than it is going into the fossil fuel companies. Like fossil fuel, the amount of money going into fossil fuels is there, but it's dropping, and it's dropping a bit and staying flat. Whereas investments towards green energy is going skyrocketing.
Oh, if I haven't said, sorry if I haven't said good evening to everyone as well. Weebud, Jao, one of our moderators, Steve Banker, Mel. Sorry to hear that, Mel, that you're not going through some troubles there. I hope you get better soon. Honestly, Witchy Goth there. Do check out Witchy Goth's YouTube channel. She was live earlier today, as well as Jao's YouTube channel as well. Got a nurse to get. Yeah, do take care of yourself there, Mel. And Stephen Moore lurking in the chat there. Good to see you there, my friend. Hope you are doing well as well. Yeah, we're here for you, Mel. If you need to talk to us, and you can always bug. I'm sure you can always bug someone on the Discord as well. There. Let's read a bit more into this, guys. So it reports that achieving the UK's net zero target by 2050 will cost less than a single oil shock and bring health and economic benefits while insulating the country against future costs. The government's climate advisor had forecast, which is exactly what we want to do, because again, while we will always have whatever happens globally will always affect us. Will always affect us globally. Do you want to mute?
Sorry.
Do you want to mute? Sorry, guys. Oh, okay. I was just saying that while obviously we can't completely future-proof ourselves against the global markets, obviously we can mitigate it significantly if we help push towards these net zero, and that's kind of the long-term thing that I'm thinking about here, because powerful people just want us subdued to the oil and gas sector and to the oil and gas sector and the global markets, because that keeps us in line with everything. And we don't want that. We still want to trade with the world and all that kind of stuff, but we don't want to be subdued by oil prices, for example. We want to be able to have it, when effects happen around the world, we don't want to be in the situation where, oh God, our bills are going to go up. What do we do, sort of thing, and start panicking. That's a situation we want to avoid as much as possibly can.
To be fair, we are. We've got one of the things we do have to remember is that to make the solar panels, we need to use gas and oil. So yes, we need to move off. We desperately need to get off of gas and oil and coal for energy usage. But for manufacture, it's still going to have to be used. There are alternatives, but not the way oil is. I think we're going to be able to reduce what we use substantially, and we're going to end up less burning it and more using it and transforming it into different things. So that at least the trend is moving away. It is actually moving towards the way we want it to.
Yeah, I would say overall, like public opinion, not just the UK, but I think even with the kind of propagandist on climate, it's still like it's not convincing people. It's not convincing people. It might convince some some sectors of public out there, depending on their level of education. But I think most people are not buying into the false narrative of net stupid zero and oil and gas is the way and all that kind of stuff. I'm not seeing people buy into it. Realistically,
no, there are a whole chunk of reform voters that aren't actually taking they're not taking the Kool-Aid on green energy. Like they're with them on immigration, but they're not with them on green energy.
Yeah,
like even reform have got it wrong.
Yeah, I think there was a poll that was indicating that. I can't remember where it was, but I think I don't know when the last time YouGov done a poll on that, but I think they should do one just to remind people. I think that it'd be interesting. I don't know how long ago was the last poll they did. It would certainly be interesting to look at for sure.
Well, it's like the polls that was done for the Iran for this war. Like whilst there are reform voters. Like pretty much reform voters are the only ones saying that like they want us in the war. But even then, there is a chunk of them that's saying that we shouldn't be part of it.
Yeah. The majority of voters for reform are in favour of the war, but there is some percentages of them who aren't in favour, and that would hurt their chances.
Look at all the other parties, even supporters of the Tories are saying no, we shouldn't be part of this. But the reform. So, and considering reforms, the reforms vote share is likely to drop off a bit as considering the polling recently. Yeah, I think we're not we're not in the state that we were in like 10 years ago, where we're like no one's doing anything. Yeah, things are happening.
Yeah, like I think the last show or the show before, we saw that there was significant progress from a lot of the major companies, but the major countries. But obviously, it's slowing. I think it's fair to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's slowing down. But it's not stopping the temperatures, but it's slowing down a little bit. I believe that's what the scientists the reports were saying, wasn't it?
He's mitigating it.
Yeah. So eliminating the UK reliance on fossil fuels by adopting renewable energies and green technologies such as electric vehicles and heat pumps would be the best and the most effective option for the future, the Climate Change Committee, CCC, found. Doing so will prevent the kind of shock that consumers are experiencing from the Iran war, which has sent the cost of oil and gas soaring to levels not seen since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Reaching net zero will cost about £4 billion a year, the CCC found, or close to 100 billion by 2050, which was roughly the equivalent to the energy-related costs of the fossil fuel shocks that followed Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The findings contradict widespread claims made by right-wing think tanks and populist politicians, including the Reform Party, that net zero would represent a crippling cost of $9 trillion to the UK's economy, as well as exaggerate in costs. These estimates fail to take into account the cost of paying for the fossil fuel needed for energy if we do not reach net zero.
What it doesn't say there is it's not just that we need to. There is some cost in it. There is more cost than just putting in the infrastructure. We also need to deal with the old infrastructure first.
Yeah.
Like we're at the same time as putting in the new infrastructure, we will have. I don't want to see us just leave the old infrastructure in the ground for it to contaminate, because that kind of just goes against the whole practice in the first place.
Yeah, so the only problem, as much as I agree with that, as much as I agree with that,
there is extra cost there, but I do agree that it's going to cost less than it will just carry on doing what Trump wants us to do.
Yeah, I hope that they put the cost for that as well, but I don't know if they would or not. I hope they do, but we won't know until more that transition comes through, I suppose. Nigel Topping, chair of the CCC, said the real cost was not only manageable, but offering protection against future fossil fuel supply crunches and against the impact of the climate crisis. In light of the current world events, it's more important than ever for the UK to move away from being reliant on violent foreign fossil fuels to clean, domestic, less wasteful energy, he said. Ed Miliband said it is highly significant that the CCC has found that the transition to net zero is cheaper for our national economy than the entire cost of the last gas price crisis, and can protect families from future fossil fuel price shocks. This is future-proof. But those who oppose our mission for clean energy would abandon the pursuit of natural energy security, lower bills, and protect our children and grandchildren. Renewable energy is much more efficient than fossil fuels, as well as being more difficult for foreign governments to interrupt. People also benefit from warmer homes, cleaner air, and more active travel and healthier diets, with less red meat, representing about £2 billion to £8 billion in savings a year to the NHS and individuals. And yeah, that's another thing as well. Yeah, this will also, if we do if these things as well, will also contribute to a reduction in our NHS waiting lists as well. So that's another factor as well. In it all. Good evening, Ellie. Good to see you there. And Doc Davis, I just saw there in the chat as well. Each pound invested in reaching net zero yielded between £2 and £4 in benefit, the CCC found. The saving on avoiding some of the impact of the climate breakdown would be worth as much as £130 billion by 2050. £130 billion. Think of all that money and how much of it, where we could put that kind of money, guys. That's a lot of money, especially for the UK.
Revamp our national services.
Mm-hmm. A report published on Wednesday to save supplement its advice to ministers on the 7th carbon budget. The government is to make a response to the 7th carbon budget, which will run from 2038 to 2042 later this year. Mike Charles, head of science at Friend of the Earth, said the current spike in the cost of gas and oil is a vivid reminder that we must urgently end our reliance on violent, costly fossil fuel, not remain hooked on them, for some are cynically advocating. The CCC analysis shows the switch to clean, green renewables and electric vehicles is not only economically sensible, but will make us far better off in the long run, while simultaneously safeguarding our environment. The UK is legally bound to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050, the point at which the UK's carbon output is balanced by the absorption of carbon dioxide from the country's forests and lands and any carbon storage facilities. But both the Conservative Party and Reform Russia have pledged to scrap the goal.
See, the Tories are being stupid there because their own voters. Reform, fair enough. Like, for the most part, they're not bothered about it. There are a huge chunk of them that do, but for the Tories, there are actually a whole load of Tories that are all on board with green.
We know the reason why they're against it. It's because they're being paid by lobbyists, by think tanks, and all that.
Oh, it's not just that. It's not just that. Kemi's also like being wagged by the. She's also being wagged by the tail of fucking Nigel Farage. She's the dog wag. She's the dog being wagged by its own tail.
Mm-hmm. Viper Scott, Mikey, Famine, Person Impersonate. Good to see you all there. Yeah, guys, do check out the BIM podcast. They do great stuff. Make sure you check out their live streams, guys. Great stuff they do there. Yeah, Mikey, when you invited me onto your podcast, your live stream, mate. I just want to put that question out there. Oil soared above $100. That's $100 a barrel on Monday. Though it has since fallen slightly, with supplies constrained continue as some production sites in the Middle East have been put on hold and tankers are stranded in the Strait of Hormuz. And that's gotten really bad, actually. We'll touch on that a bit more, and there's a story later on we'll touch on a bit with that as well. This is the second major oil price shock in 4 years, and experts warned that it could be more expected in future years as the geopolitical outlook continues to be unstable. Let me just finish this bit at the end here. Bob Ward, Policy Director of the Grantham Institute at the London School of Economics, said it is clear there would be substantial and long-lasting savings for the UK if it speeds up the transition to an economy that is largely electrified and powered by clean domestic energy. Despite recent rapid rises in the price of gas, the Reform Russian Party said it wants to scrap incentives for people to move to cleaner, more efficient heat pumps. And Paul Mazzarasso, the UK climate campaigner at Greenpeace, has said Reform Russia's solution is to leave us even more exposed to the gas markets that are clobbering businesses and households with higher bills. Let's be, if Reform Russia was in government, they would pay out of British taxpayer money to create pipes going all the way from Russia all the way to us, just so they could take their.
Considering Tice is, Tice's house is being powered by fucking green energy, you know.
Oh yes, people forget that. Yeah, but he doesn't want to tell you that, guys. He doesn't want to tell you that, which is absolutely bonkers. But yeah, I absolutely believe that if we have a reformed Russian government, not only will all the green projects that are going to make a difference to our lives here would be stopped, but they would try. They would actually. I think that they would, they would build an infrastructure project, but it would be building giant gas tunnels and all the way from the UK all the way to Russia, because that's how bloody stupid they are. But never mind stupid people. Speaking of amazing people, Pagan, Viper Scott has just gifted 5 memberships here. Very generous. Thank you so much, my friend, for the support. He's given 5. Let me just quickly say, Political X, Terry Regan, David Gerardo, John Roy Croft, and This That White Cat have all been gifted memberships. This That White Cat. And it's got a very cute cat picture I can see in there as well. Thank you so much, Viper Scott, for the gifting memberships. Much appreciated there. So optimism, cross fingers. Obviously, we must keep reform out of power, guys. Never mind just the Conservatives. Hopefully, as between now and the next election, we'll see hopefully significant progress in the work that Labour does, as well as Ed Miliband. I really hope if Keir Starmer does any cabinet reshuffle, or if he goes after the local elections, Ed Miliband does not get moved from his position, because I think it would be very damaging for the progress that has been made so far.
I said, I said, like, before the general election, that I'm expected to get between 40 to 60% of what I want. Yeah, I think that's roughly about what I've gotten, to be honest. Like, I knew it wasn't going to be all good, but I knew that it would be better than the Tories and reform. And
I can't look. Here's the thing, and people know how criticizing I am of Keir and Labour on some things, but when I see comments where they're saying that Keir Starmer is worse than Liz Truss, you're just bonkers. The comparisons that people are making to the Conservatives is just not a wash for me.
I'm not on board with the calling Starmer evil either. Is he naive? Absolutely. Is he politically naive? Absolutely. Is he politically stupid? Absolutely. But is he evil? I just don't get that.
Yeah. And guys, Pagan with Daily Blase will be with me on the roundtable next week as well, guys. I still have a 4th guest to get on, so we'll definitely be touching on the Iran war. That's for sure, guys. And speaking of the Iran war, I was actually going to leave this till later, but given some of the things we've been touching on, it kind of makes sense to go into this story as well. It is another piece from the Guardian, but I think all things considered, we need to touch on it because we mentioned the Middle East, obviously, and what's happening, how it's affecting here. But this here, the bombing of Iran's oil infrastructure to have major environmental fallout, experts have warned. Monitors admit that they are struggling to keep track of the environmental disasters arising from widening war. So just before you come in on this, Pagan, if anyone didn't see the live stream that I had last night, I did mention it. I didn't have the video footage, but there are international journalists in Tehran because they allow them in there, unlike Israel, who won't let anyone in Gaza. There was I believe it was a CNN reporter who was on top of a building, and it was literally raining oil. You could see the drops of oil from on the walls and on the floor. And the other thing as well is that it's been mentioned by people living in Tehran, that it's extremely toxic, obviously, in terms of the air. And we're not just talking about the environmental damage, like the air that people are breathing is incredibly intoxicating and can lead to long-lasting effects and long-lasting damaging effects to their breathing as well. It's really, really horrible what's happening here, Pagan.
Yeah, it's just insane. Can you imagine I know that in that part of the world, there are a lot of subterranean animals because they need to get out of the sun. And this is going to soak into the earth. This is going to, let alone, I don't even want to think about the maritime contaminations in this. The marine contamination is going to be insane because they're not just hitting land-based oil stuff. They're hitting stuff around the sea, and besides that, a lot of the oil that's been put up into the air is like radioactive material going to come back down, and it's going to get into the waterways as well. Yes, there's poisonous for us, but can you imagine the entire ecosystems being affected?
You know what? I'm so glad you pointed that out because it didn't clock on me. Like, I didn't think about like some of the tankers that have been struck in the Strait of Hormuz, and I'm thinking, oh my god, all the oil and environmental damage in that part and it's only going to get worse.
I've seen some lefties saying like, good, need to hit like the Americans and Israelis need to learn to not touch the damn stove, and I'm like, I get that, but at the same time, no, like we can't be hit. I get that Iran has the right to strike back, but hitting these oil refineries isn't just hitting the economy; it's hurting their own environment.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Iran regime, environment is not as important as their survival, and that's the cold hard truth. And I hate saying that, guys, I really do, because we really do want to protect our environment, and this is going to be so much damage in long years, even decades after this. However this conflict ends, the environmental damage is going to be there for a long time. It's really heartbreaking for sure. Let me just see that. Thank you, Viper Scott, for that ship tracker page live here. Yeah. It's just come out. Okay. So can we go to? Sorry, I just want to have a quick look. Where the hell is for those who are wondering, if I can zoom into it. Viper Scott has just sent me the give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to see if I can bring this up for you guys. He sent me the ship tracker page. Let me just see if I can bring this up, guys. Let me come out this, and we can have a look together. Hopefully I've got that. I'm pretty sure I'm in the right place here. So yeah, this is the right place here. So I've not used this before, actually. So we can see
pileups on either side of the strait.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it's quite bad, guys. There's a lot.
What this map doesn't show you, though, is the sea level, and right up until you get to where it starts to open out more into the Gulf of Oman, it's all shallow. All this is actually really rather shallow, and it's once you get out into the Gulf of Oman that things start getting deeper. So all they got to do is sink a few ships. They don't even have to flood the area with mines. All they have to do is sink a few ships in the right places to create enough of a barrier.
Well, a few oil tankers got set on fire. Was it today or yesterday? And that's kind of like, you ain't going. I don't know
how far away from the coast that was, though. Because if it was close enough to the coast, then there shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that. We are going to touch more on the on Iran next week for sure. We are going to touch on it more next week, but obviously it is something we do need to talk about, because obviously the environmental damage is going to be immense in the Middle East here. So let's read a bit into this, guys. So Israel's bombing of Iran's oil infrastructure will have major long-term environmental repercussions, experts have warned, as monitors admitted that they were struggling to keep track of the environmental disasters arising from the widening war, even as Iranians filled the streets to mark the appointment of the new supreme leader. the Sharin oil depot northeast of Tehran, and the Share e-fuel depot to its south continues to burn on Monday, 2 days after they were bombed by Israeli warplanes.
Israel apparently bombed a nuclear spot as well, from what I've heard.
Yeah, you guys try. You know, you could have the best fire service in the world. You ain't putting out that fire anytime soon. Like we all know how flammable.
It took them weeks to put. Well, you remember that when if anyone remembers the Kuwait stuff, where the first Gulf War, where Saddam Hussein decided he was going to invade Kuwait, right? And then when on his way back out, after being forced back out, he set fire to the oil depots over there, and it took weeks to get those fires out. Fucking weeks.
Were they as big as these ones that we're seeing so far?
They're huge. If you don't know about the oil fires in Kuwait due to what Iraq did, I'd suggest you check it out.
And this is really bad. And to add more to this, right? And I think we've reminded most of the chat here, but for those who don't know, Iran doesn't have a lot of water. They rely quite heavily on the desalination plants, and I think one has been struck already as well. So you're already struggling to keep enough water for the people of this huge country, because it's a huge country, guys. It's really important to stress. It's a big fucking country, right? And there's not a lot, you know, and the water is already challenging for them. So you've got these major explosions, oil being burned at these places, and it's, you know, really flammable and whatnot. Like, where the hell are you going to get the water to put these fires out? Never mind, you're trying to put them out now. Like, it's just going to be
with just the seawater, but like, yeah. I mean, I get people are taking sides with this, and I'm like, there is a part of, obviously I'm against Israel and the US. They fucking started this, but like, I'm not a fan of these of the Iran theocracy either. So it's kind of a bit like, there's a quote by Terry Pratchett that I think, you know, a part of me really, it's sometimes like watching a wasp land on a stinging nettle. Someone's going to get stung and you just don't care. And the part of that rings true with this. Like, they're both horrible bastards. They're all horrible bastards. And it's kind of like, just get over it. Get it over with.
Yeah. Thank you, Viper Scott, for the £2 super chat. I did see that. Sorry. Appreciate that. Can't use water on oil, says Mr. E. Is it foam that we need to use on it then? Is it foam?
I do know you can use sand.
Okay. You can use sand on it. Is it sand then you can use? Oh, that's not a problem. There's plenty of that around.
I've put fires out on the when you're a teen, you go have beach parties. I had to put kerosene fires out, and people panicking because they couldn't put it out with fire. I was like, chuck sand on it then. And people, it's stone. It's just miniature stones. Just chuck it on there. It's not going to set fire.
Well. Either way, look. I don't know how they're going to put them out, but the sooner they put them out, the better. Because the every day that it's aflamed, it's going to be the environmental damage is going to be immense. Just want to point out as well, before you jump in, my friend, Daily Blase, good to see you there in the chat. I don't know if I saw Dave McGuinness in the chat or not. If he is, do check out Dave's YouTube channel and Daily Blase's YouTube channel. Just a reminder, guys, before Friday Frolics at 5 o'clock tomorrow, I'll be going live at 3 o'clock for the 3-year anniversary on my channel. I will have lots of fun videos I'm going to be getting for you guys there. We're going to be going 2 hours straight, and then we're going to go straight from my live stream into Daily Blase. So do join me at 3 o'clock if you can, before we head to Daily Blase's Friday Frolics, guys. Just wanted to put that cheap plug in there. Sorry, was there any more to add, or do you want me to continue? No. Okay. Yeah, sorry. In the immediate aftermath of the attacks, Iran's environmental agency and the Iranian Red Crescent Society have warned Tehran residents to stay at home, warning that toxic chemicals spread by airstrikes on 5 fossil fuel installations around the city could lead to acid rain and damage the skin and lungs.
I mean, Tehran is fucked anyway because their water use, their water usage is so fucking poor.
Yeah.
Like again, like I do feel for the Iranians.
Yeah.
But they're getting hit by 3 bastards. They're getting hit by the US, they're getting hit by Israel, and they're getting hit by their own stupid fucking government.
Yeah. Oh, guys, sorry, apologies. Witchy Goth is also going to be live at 1 o'clock, is it? As well, sorry, there. So, yeah, I think it's 1 o'clock, as well tomorrow. So, yeah, for literally from lunchtime till 6 o'clock, yeah, you've got Witchy Goth for 2 hours, you got me for 2 hours, and then you got Daily Blase for 2 hours. So, yes, do check all of us out tomorrow, guys. So plenty to cover for sure, guys. On Monday, the head of the World Health Organization has said damage to plutonium facilities in Iran risk contaminating food, water, and air. Yep. Hazards. Yes, I am still doing the Good Morning Show, Mel. Yes, I am. Water and air hazards can have severe health impacts, especially on children, older people, and people with pre-existing medical conditions. Yeah, and it's always like just even for healthy people, they're at risk. What about the people who might have breathing difficulties, who may have medical conditions and whatnot? They're going to be even more vulnerable to all this as well. Iran's deputy health minister told Al Jazeera that the soil and water supplies around Iran were already beginning to be contaminated by the fallout from the weekend's explosions. And thank you again, Viper Scott, for the £2 super chat. Desalination plants contaminated big time too. Yeah, and it's really, really terrible situation here. Regardless of, like, of course, we're going to touch on the war again, but we're just thinking about the environmental impact and the human impact that this is costing. That this is going to cost in the long term, guys. Never mind the short term here. To this all. The black rain that fell across Tehran in the hours after the bombing was a mixture of soot and fine particle matter from the explosion with rain from a storm that was already moving across the region, according to Dr. Ashki Deros, a research scientist at the University of Reading. So this acid rain was literally moving. Jesus.
It couldn't. This might not just hit Iran. Like this could.
So this will spread depending on where the wind.
Or the other way. Depending on which way the wind's blowing, it could
yes, exactly.
All other countries. Fuck's sake, this is an ecological disaster that spans multiple nations. Cheers, Israel. Cheers, America. Cheers, Iranian theocracy.
It says, quote, the airstrikes on oil depots release soot, smoke, oil particles, sulfur compounds, and likely heavy metals and inorganic materials from the buildings. Whilst a low-pressure weather system, which typically sweeps across Iran and West Asia around this time of year, creates conditions favorable for rainfall. In terms as atmospheric chemistry, the oil fires produce sulfur and nitrogen compounds that can form acids if they dissolve in rainwater. The risks to human health comes from inhaling or touching the smoke and particles. Immediate impact can include headaches, irritation from the eyes and skin, and difficulty breathing, particularly for people with asthma, lung disease, older adults, young children, and those with disabilities there. Yes, Tehran's reservoirs were already under 10% capacity for a while, says Mr. E there. Yeah, they were already quite low, wasn't they? Yeah, thanks for adding that context there.
They put their water management was so poor.
Yeah.
There is a level. There is a level to me where I'm thinking it kind of is time for the Iranian theocracy to end, but not this way. Like this way is not the most destructive, horrible way of doing it.
This is the way it's being done is disgusting. And what someone said something about the sewage system. Where was it? Jal mentioned the sewers are on fire in Tehran. They had literal rivers of hell in the middle of the city. I've not seen that footage, but I would not be surprised if that was true at all. God. Tirani's reported difficulty breathing on Sunday, as well as headaches. And remember, it's Thursday. This was on Sunday, guys. Burning sensations in their eyes and throats, but acute effects of the black clouds that spread across the city could just be the beginning, according to the Professor Andrea Stella, Professor of Inorganic Chemistry at the University College London. Quote, the explosions will have exposed the local population to all manners of undesirable and toxic chemical species, a problem that is well known to accompany warfare, he said. Expanding that crude oil will also have contaminated a range of elements, including metals, that would also be spread indiscriminately.
Yeah, there are gonna be toxic metals that are contaminating the local environment. Like I said, we're talking about. No, I get what you're saying, Xiao. I'm just look. It's I'm not. Again, all I'm saying is I'm not a fan of the Iranian theocracy, considering the damage they were doing to their own fucking country. I'm not a fan of what's being done to Iran right now. I'm not on board with it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this. No. I think look, we will touch on the political aspects next week, guys. But we're talk obviously for this show. Obviously, we want to touch on the environmental impact, which is. And the catastrophic impact it will have, which is obviously very significant. Of course, we can talk all about how big of a fucking idiot Donald Trump is and how evil Netanyahu is and how cruel the Iranian regime is another time. But, let's think about the people and the long-term damage.
The only reason I'm having got them here is because the environmental damage they are doing. They, the US and Israel, are doing.
Yeah. There will be a real cocktail chemistry. There'll be a real cocktail chemistry, including significant amounts of aromatic compounds that are known to interact with DNA that have been linked to cancer. Whether or not this manifests will depend strongly on how long or serious the exposure of any individual. It says, and on top of this, once the contaminant provides by tanks and pipes is destroyed, the material will flow everywhere, leaving a mess of harmful materials that permeates the soil and coal everywhere else. This is the potential for contamination of drinking water supply. Here's the other thing as well that just crossed my mind about all this. Like they want to change regime, right? But there's not going to be much value on this in the land if it's all going to be full of this. Are they going to pay out of pocket to clean up all this as well?
No, obviously not. They don't care. Like I said, the leaders on all sides of this do not care about the environmental concerns. Not one of the three sides. Israel, which started this bullshit, they don't give a fuck. We've already been over stories how Israel don't give a fuck about the environment. Trump's US definitely don't give a fuck about the environment. And with the way Israel are chucking strikes around, they obviously don't give a fuck about the environment either. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm going to leave this here because I think we covered it quite significantly anyway, to be fair, on this. I don't think we need to add any more to it, but just the fact that we did video, not pictures. Okay, no worries, Zhao. Thanks for letting me know. I wouldn't I'm not saying it's not real anyway, to be honest, considering what's happening out there. So it's I'm not saying it's not insane. Yeah, it is. It absolutely is insane, guys. It is. I want to switch gears to a story that we didn't get to cover last time we had a show, and it's one that you were very keen to talk about, my friend, and that is a piece from the Global Times about China's pioneers commercial use of supercritical CO2 power generation.
Yeah, I'm very interested in this. The fact that it says commercial use as well is a big one. This could be fucking great.
So, but before I read into this, so is my understanding that they're using carbon dioxide as a power generator of some sorts? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. This is very interesting. Especially considering the increased levels of CO2 as well.
The way I understand it, I'm no physicist. The way I understand it is that supercritical CO2 is like liquefied CO2.
you have to freeze it quite significantly, don't you? Is that not?
I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, I'm no physicist, but this intrigues the hell out of me, because if this is true, then okay, I'm on board with this. Because you got the carbon capture bollocks, which one of the models I've seen actually looks sensible, but like most of the carbon capture stuff I keep hearing about is absolute crap. Whereas this, like, if we're gonna, if they've got an efficient way of turning CO2 into supercritical CO2, I'm all on board with this.
I'm generally curious to know if they, because I'm generally curious to know if they actually turn the carbon dioxide into how they turn carbon dioxide into electric. And my understanding of it is that you have to freeze it at a really super cold temperature in order to turn carbon dioxide into a liquid. But let's read into it, guys, and see how this goes. So, a set of supercritical carbon dioxide CO2 power generation units commenced commercial operation on Saturday in Guizhou province, southwest China.
Guizhou.
I'm not going to pronounce that. Billy says you need to do a video on this as well, Pagan.
I need to learn more about it before I do a video on it, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
I agree.
There you go. So on your list of things to do, marking the country's pioneering commercial application of this initiative technology. The unit is in commercial operation, located at a plant operated by Shaogang Xinxing Iron and Steel Group Co. Limited in Guizhou's
Lupanxi City.
Yeah, it constitutes a demonstration project for supercritical CO2 power generation technology, utilizing sinister waste heat, according to its developer, the Nuclear Power Institute of China, under China's Natural Nuclear Corporation, the CNNC. So the project is named Chaotang 1, and each unit of the project boosts a power generation capacity of 15 megawatts. Quote, the project highlights the use of supercritical CO2 power generation technology, an innovation power generation technology characterized by highly effective, a compact system, fewer auxiliary systems, and faster response speed. Said Yang Ping, CNN chief scientist and chief designer of the Chaotang 1. I like the name Chaotang 1. I like it.
Chaotang 1 sounds that sounds very official. I like that.
I thought CO2 goes straight from solid to gas, as Doc Davis. Yeah,
that's just it. That's just it. That is just it. That's the whole thing about supercritical CO2. There's a narrow window. From what I understand, there's a narrow window in which you can do it, and it if you can get that, this is what you get.
Commercial operation of this project marks a milestone representing the first transition of this initiative technology from laboratory to commercial implementation in the world.
So you all want to see this, but for fucking nuclear fusion, and that we're slowly heading towards nuclear fusion, like to commercial operation.
Globally, unremitted efforts and explorations have been made to generate power, and so far the principles of power generation, via thermal power, nuclear power, or various ways, heat steams power, is similar to boiling water. Heat water into steam, drive the turbine to rotate, generate electricity according to Yang. Yeah, that's one of the obviously if you turn that's one of the standard.
That's what it is. Nuclear, but when we talk about nuclear power, that is still steam power.
That is still steam power. Yeah, it is because turning the water into steam. Yeah. Quote: the supercritical CO2 power generation is an initiative thermoelectric conversion technology. Okay. He explained that when the working pressures of CO2 exceeds 73 atmosphere and the temperature exceeds 31 degrees Celsius, it enters a supercritical state. This is what you just mentioned about. I think this is what you and Doc Davis were catching on here.
Yeah.
Then CO2 exhibits increased density, approaching a liquid state, which enables it to store more energy. And meanwhile, it's a I can't say that word. Viscosity.
How thick the liquid is.
Okay. Remains very low. Close to that of a gas, resulting in a smaller flow resistance.
It's very creepy stuff. It's very creepy stuff. I've seen some I've seen some videos of early laboratory stuff for supercritical CO2, and it does weird things.
If anyone can find me a video, I can't play videos with this with StreamYard. Yeah, they're a bit of pants, really. Jao asks how much energy to start the process. I think they might tell us if we keep reading on. I'm sure they'll tell us here. He illustrated with this analog. It's like a strong man riding a bicycle, coated with lubricating oil, allowing him to pedal effortlessly over long distances. It's an interesting way of putting it. Fascinating way of putting it. Compared to conventional sintering waste, heat steam power generation technology, Tang 1 has increased power generation effectively by over 85%, net power generation by over 50%, and reduced the required floor space by 50%. So you even reduced the floor space.
That's
apparently,
insane.
according to them.
I haven't actually read all the way through this. This is insane.
That's the thing that adds on top of it is that they're saying that they can increase power efficiency over 85% as well as reducing the floor space for it, which is quite crazy here.
No wonder they can say this is for commercial use. Fucking hell.
Under the current sintering process, the project can generate over 70 million kilowatts. That's hours of electricity annually, adding about 30 million yang. That's approximately $4.2 million in revenue, according to the Iron and Steel Group's what they're claiming. That's revenue in terms of it. That I'm sure the oil and gas companies will be thrilled to learn of this project. Stephen Moore, thank you so much for the 20 New Zealand dollars. That's very generous of you, my friend. I hope you're having a lovely Friday morning where you are in New Zealand. Thank you for the generous super chat. Really appreciate that. The pressures of water can't cut steel, says 234.
You can.
If it's a certain...
I've seen high pressure water cut through steel.
Ooh.
What?
So it can cut through steel. That depends. Does it depend? So it depends on the pressure then.
Yeah. Yeah. He meant can. It was a misspelling.
Oh, it's a typo error. Oh, no way. It's 234. Good to see you there, by the way. The Nuclear Power Initiative of China earmarked on research into the world's cutting-edge supercritical CO2 power conversion technology in 2009. And in 2023, construction commenced on its
It's a demonstration project.
On its demonstration project as well. Does it have a grit in it? Says Billy asks.
Grit? I'm not sure what you mean.
Let's keep reading. Hopefully we'll get more information as we go along on this. So beyond an initiative technology, supercritical CO2 power generation is poised to significantly contribute to the country's dual carbon goals by effectively converting industrial waste heat into power.
I love that right there speaks to me, because we need to get for our economies, we do need to get making things again. Our industrial, we do need to industrialize to a point, right? This is brilliant.
The way of getting rid of waste as well.
Taking the waste and using that waste for energy. I like that. Not
just for energy, clean energy.
Yeah.
Because how do we normally get rid of waste? We burn it. So yeah, I'm just thinking like that's game changing, as well. Aside from waste heat power generation, this technology holds even broader application prospects. He added that this technology helps break through the technical bottleneck of effective utilization of medium and small scale power sources and medium and high temperature sources worldwide. So it says in 2024, CNNC launched a demonstration project integrating molten salt, energy storage, and supercritical CO2 power generation technologies, with scheduled demonstration operations set for 2028.
Oh, that could be using thorium.
Mm.
I've seen there's a type of nuclear power generation called using thorium, and it's supposed to be a closed system as well. So they're trying to integrate this with that. That's insane. Wow.
Yeah. So looking ahead, the supercritical CO2 power generation technology will be integrated with multiple heat sources to form power generation systems, expanding its application to solar thermal power, waste heat recovery, energy storage, and other fields. So there's staff members working on it there. Don't ask me to read that, guys, because I can't read that picture there. Got another picture of the... this is just for reference. This updated file provides the Nuclear Power Institute of China under China's National Nuclear Corporation, shows an interior view of the main power generator of Chaotang 1. So that's apparently that's supposed to be the interior view of Chaotang 1. That's what
it's smaller than almost any fucking normal nuclear plant or gas or oil plant.
Does look very fascinating, is the word. Oh, they don't have any more on it. Oh no,
no. I tell you what, just what was in that, I'm actually quite excited. I'm more excited than I was when I just read the title.
We need to find more on this. I'm going to keep that story, guys. I'm going to keep that story because we definitely want to keep an eye on this. Because
I need to find out more about that.
Yeah. This is definitely something worth looking more into, because I'm sure most of you will agree that we still need to read. We need more questions about this. Obviously, we don't have enough information about this, but obviously, it's something that is promising because it could be a significant source of power that perhaps will help deal with an issue with regards to carbon dioxide, as well as obviously the potential benefits it has in terms of size and how much power it can generate as well.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, there's still plenty of questions, and I'm sure you guys still have plenty of questions. So we'll see if we can find something similar to that next month's show. That's for sure.
I'll be digging.
Yeah.
So the problem with China is they very rarely let out this kind of information.
Well, because they don't want people stealing their technology, do they? To be fair, because they don't want people.
Sorry, I don't want the Simon Whistler's thing. Don't touch China's shit.
Well, we're not touching it. We're looking at it, aren't we? Speaking of another country, this is that you got this story here, all the way from Venezuela. Here,
yes,
it's an interesting one from Venezuela here. Man, we still got 3 more stories, guys. We'll try and run through these as quick as we can here. So the headline is Venezuela's fragile environment faces rising risks as US pushes for oil and critical minerals and illegal gold mining spreads. So not as damaging right now as what's happening in the Middle East and Iran with regards to there, but still the fact that
I don't know. It could be just as bad considering that Venezuela is part of the most biodiverse part of the world, whereas Iran and Afghanistan and the rest of West Asia isn't. The impact on the environment will actually be, in relative terms, could actually be a lot higher in Venezuela than it is in Iran, purely because of just how biodiverse it is in that part of the world.
I guess that depends as well as how much drilling, how much digging that they do in the country as well, I suppose. I guess that's a good question to ask. On that as well.
I've known about the damage that's been done in this region. It's not just Venezuela, but like
no, there's other South American countries. Well, Brazil, obviously, we've spoken about in the past as well. With regards to the Amazon forest.
Colombia is back.
You haven't touched on Colombia at all.
No, not in a while.
Oh,
But
gosh.
like I said, Colombia can be just as bad for this stuff.
So Venezuela's
Orinoco.
what's that?
Orinoco.
Orionco. Yeah, I'm going to be trying to
Yeah,
pronounce
it's
that.
because of the Orinoco. I know it because of the Orinoco crocodile.
Ah, okay. Not the biggest fan of crocodiles for me. The river bastion is a wildland of lush forests, grassland, and a vast delta of jungle wetlands teeming with wildlife. River dolphins and the endangered crocodiles ply its waterways, and over 1,000 freshwater fish and bird species can be found there. And during the rainy season, it is the world's third largest river by discharge. But this region, with Venezuelans rely on for water and hydropower, is facing a growing environmental disaster. For over millions of years, organic and geological processes left the fragile region rich in both biodiversity and mineral resources, including the world's largest proven oil reserves and valuable metals such as gold, iron, coltan, a source of niobium, and tantalum for the tech industry. That's the one that was sticking out at me. Coltan, mineral the coltan. Is that the one I think that China has? Is that the one that China has the most resources of on the planet?
I think it's one of the. Yeah, it's one of the rare earths.
I'm pretty sure I've read somewhere that is the second largest place, comes out of the Middle East somewhere, I believe. So I believe that someone have to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure it's coltan was the rest of the world relies on that metal from the Middle East as well, but it's not so much talked about. It's not as high, obviously, as China's, but yeah, I mean, and just
tantalum, like I said, we need tantalum and niobium for not for just green energy, but for our tech.
Yeah, for all our tech as well. Yeah, illegal mining can accelerate under that accelerated under the former president. Over the past decade, is tearing up one of the most biodiverse regions in the world, with little signs of stopping now. And now, the Trump administration is pushing to ramp up the critical minerals and mining and oil draining in Venezuela, when the industry has a long history of oil spills and negative equipment, with little discussion of protecting the environment. Yeah, well,
so
the
under the so-called socialist Maduro, it was bad, and now under the absolutely not socialist Trump, it's going to get even worse. Fucking love.
Well, he doesn't believe in. He thinks it's all net stupid zero. So to him, it's like, I don't care. Like, I want the resources. Mineral explosions in Venezuela is as old as the country. Historically, a few big mines were run by international companies. Mining was controlled, but in the early 2010s, the government of the former president Hugo Chavez nationalized the gold industry and hinted that the government would open small-scale mining to the public. And in 2016, Morado, facing falling oil production and scrambling for revenue, followed through, declaring large parts of the river bastion to be the mining arc. Oh, God, where mining would be prioritized. The regions encompasses about 12% of Venezuela, including national monuments, national parks, and indigenous communities.
Yeah,
and today,
the indigenous communities get it from the government as well.
Today, tens of thousands of people mine in the jungle, often in living in often squalid, violent, and contaminated conditions. And yeah, so and that kind of stuff is already happening in parts of Africa, where in certain countries where they mine for resources as well. And you've got it here in South America. Steve, thank you again for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. If you have any questions or comments, let me know and I'll be sure to read them out. Thank you again. I really appreciate that. Mark, good to see you there as well in the chat. Sorry if I've not said hello to everyone. Just keeping an eye on time. I want to try and cover at least one more story after this if we can. Today, tens of thousands of people mine in the jungle. I already said that, sorry. Criminal gangs are known as
colectivos or sindicatos.
Control many of the mining operations with little government intervention. Yep, because the government are going to turn a blind eye because it helps make them money. Guerrilla groups from Colombia have also spilled over to the border into the region. The mining operations cut down forests and remove soil. Toxic materials, including mercury, is used to extract gold from the ore, pours into rivers, contaminating the water and harming the workers, wildlife, and surrounding communities that rely on local fish and the wildlife. And literally, these pictures kind of sum it up here, doesn't it? In a bit of a nutshell.
This is why in Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro was so evil. Like this damage was being done at larger, on an even larger scale in Brazil. And with the Mercury, when Alistair was, or Viper Scott was pointing that out in the chat.
Yeah. It's not good, guys. It's really bad. It's really bad. And again, it's like you're not aware of these things until you start looking them up as well, guys. Thank you, Viper Scott, for the £2 super chat for reaching tonight's super chat goal. Thank you to everyone who took part, contributed to it, and thank you to the who gave for gifting memberships as well. There, appreciate everyone's support, guys. Make sure you do subscribe to One Angry Pagan's YouTube channel as well. Do give him some support, love and support. Whenever he puts up any videos, you can check them out as well. Leave comments and all that kind of stuff. Let's help get his channel going as well, guys. Thank you for that. The mind is also promote the spread of tropical infectious diseases and disrupts indigenous and rural communities. Evidence of environmental disasters and human rights violations, including human trafficking, child labor, and sexual assault, have been documented by several public and private organizations. You have all that going on as well. We've got a map here. Ooh. The Seine River bastion holds part of the world's largest proven crude oil reserves. And after the Trump administration seized Morado and arrested him, drug trafficking charges, said the US would control that oil. But what exactly that will mean and how the oil industry will respond remains to be seen. So this map here, let me just highlight. It says Venezuelan mining and oil productions are in a key watershed. The oil belt and the mining arc are both within the river bastion here. So
yeah, the black spots are the oil, and then the yellow is probably where the gold and metal mining is taking place, and that's taking place within the rainforest, or what areas that are supposed to be rainforest.
Wow, that's a huge.
Yeah,
so the orange is all the mining that they're mining arc.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
this is what I mean when you say like the damage that this will do compared to that of Iran, of what's happening with Iran.
I mean, that's more
like,
than a. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's more than a. Is that more than a quarter of the country itself there?
About 10%, 10-15%, I'd say.
Jesus Christ!
But
humongous.
But when you consider the biodiversity of Venezuela, this is having a much higher impact on the environment than is if the explosions were going off here, like that, there would be no shot that Iran that this is gonna every day of the week this would be 10 times worse than Iran. It's just lucky that explosions aren't going off there. As it is, the damage being done to the environment with the practices that's going on is as damaging to the environment as what's going on in Iran.
That's I really obviously this really I knew obviously there was this kind of stuff taking place in South America, but I didn't know it was on this scale. I wasn't aware it was on this scale.
I've had some of my right wing family take the piss at me because I'm socialist and saying, "Oh, look at the socialist countries out there. Look at Venezuela." I'm not a fan of Venezuela. Look at the Venezuelan government. Look what they've done to their people. Look what they've done to their fucking environment.
And this is not even out. This is not even out in the ocean. This is not even out in the ocean where where it gets highlighted a lot on the mainstream media about the oil out in the ocean. Yeah,
and they've got oil deposits in the just off their coast as well. That's one thing that map isn't showing.
Yeah. By law, oil and other natural and mineral resources belong to the state. In Venezuela, oil exploration, extraction, and commercialization are carried out through a system called concessions contracts between the government and national and foreign private companies. In exchange for access to resources, the country receives an income or tribute from the profits generated.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all on board with owning your own natural resources, right? I'm all on board for that. But if you're going to do that, regulate it fucking properly. You have the control. Venezuela had the fucking control, and it didn't fucking do it. This is why I'm always going to be disappointed with people who cheer on fucking Chavez and Maduro, because they didn't do what socialists ought to do.
However, the Constitution of the Bolivian Republic of Venezuela, approved in 1999, that clearly states that, quote, the state shall protect the environment, biological and generic diversity, ecological process, natural parks and natural monuments, other areas of particular ecological importance.
They can't even follow their own fucking constitution. I
was literally about to say Venezuela doesn't give a flying fuck.
They couldn't even give a damn about their own constitution. Like, no, I'm no fan of the Venezuelan socialist regime.
Yeah. Analysis estimate that rebuilding the industry, which has been plagued by poorly maintained maintenance infrastructure and leaks and spills, would take years to decades. It would likely mean more roads in the region already losing pristine forests and put more of the environment and water at risk. The region's heavy oil production has also led to water pollution as well. And this is why oil companies literally were like saying to Trump, "Yeah, you guys go in there and get me the oil." And it's just like, yeah, it's not as simple as that, Donald.
I really do get angry when people like, they're just through ideology, they're like, "Oh, I love this country." And I'm like, well, no. I mean, they controlled, they had control of this stuff. It wasn't down to the private companies. They had control of it, and they let it fall to pieces.
In the 1920s, oil drilling helped lift the economy of Venezuela, previously a very poorly, largely agrarian country. And the country had been plagued with malaria and other tropical diseases. The population was poorly educated, and there were continuous fights among military strongmen. Oil brought in foreign investment, making Venezuela the second largest oil producer in the world by 1928 and its largest exporter. And in 1976, with the country's economy heavily dependent on oil. When you're look, I'm just going to say this. Like, I remember reading stories about how countries who have gone from relying so much on oil, and what they did was, rather than just carrying on as they build up their country, build up their infrastructure and all that kind of stuff, is you build stuff within your country that makes it interesting for tourists, for investment and whatnot, outside of your reliance on the resources that you have. Like, think of Taiwan, a country that has literally no resources whatsoever. What did they do? They built they created the semiconductors, isn't it? That the world relies on so much, and that makes them like, oh, we need to invest in Taiwan and all that kind of stuff because they have the resources. Even Qatar, they've expanded their portfolio.
Saudi Arabia has also gone into green energy because they need to. I just remember what it was. There's a term called Dutch disease, which is because only relying on oil or gas for your income and not diversifying again. But like, even if they didn't diversify, they still could have looked after their fucking system, their infrastructure, and they didn't. This was supposed to be a bastion for socialism in the world, and look at it. Same as the USSR. Look at the damage the USSR did, for fuck's sake.
Stark contrast to countries in the Middle East where they've got the money from selling all that, and they've built up their societies, and many of them, while they still rely on oil and gas and whatnot, countries like Qatar and that, they've built a portfolio they're branching out, which is the one thing you're supposed to do as a country when you have resources. Don't just sit on the same resources all the time.
At the same time, don't do what we did with Thatcher and sell off all of our natural resources.
There was a country or an island, I think, a real life law covered that ages ago, about how they literally destroyed themselves because they just kept selling the same resources, and then they've just been in a poor state. I can't remember what country it was. Probably was Haiti. There. Foreign industries could partner with the state's oil companies, but only if the government held the controlling share of the joint ventures. Boom times led to inflation, and the oil price drops became disastrous for the economy. Again, and also you're leading. See, oil price drops. You're tying yourself to the global oil economy. Yeah, right there. And it's like anything happens to that, you're fucked. Already, you're putting yourself at risk right there. The US began imposing sanctions on Venezuela. Yeah, we know about the sanctions and whatnot. So Venezuela's crude oil production here. This is Venezuela's crude oil production fell during the Hugo Chavez presidency and then dropped precipitously after Nicolas Maduro succeeded him in 2013. Yeah, so we can even see. So, yeah, he really knocked it down, and then it came back up in 2005. There,
poor management.
Yeah. And look what they just let it stagnate for a good several years as well. You can have the best
wishes in the world, but if you don't know what you're doing, you can actually do as much, if not more damage than the people who are actively trying to do that damage.
Yeah, so the sanctions is what's killed their oil industry. And again, because they've been relying on it, yeah, which is why they've been in the hole that they've been in. I'm going to leave it there because we... Yeah. We'll have a look at it.
Can you imagine the environmental, the ecological destruction?
Oil spills from Venezuela's negative industry contamination. That's Lake Maracaibo in northwestern Venezuela.
Maracaibo. Yeah, Lake Maracaibo, yeah.
Scenes like this are what environmental and indigenous people fear if oil drilling expands in the oil belt. So this is going to get worse if they do more.
The Orinoco crocodile is already fucking endangered. Many other species in that area are already endangered because of this.
Yeah, and this is intense mining in the Punchy area.
Punchy area.
Yeah, this is Bolivia State in January 2020. Camamelia National Park, and they got the mining rafts around it as well.
And look, it's directly onto the river.
Absolutely insane.
I mean, to be fair, insane. I do know that in the Amazon, they do have to use rivers as a mode of transport because there's just no point in using roads.
Yeah, that's their only way of getting around, isn't it?
But that's fucking ridiculous. We could. What disgusts me is that right now you've got this going on in several different places throughout the world. We didn't even touch on what's going on in the US. The pollution that's going on in the US at the moment.
Oh yeah, there was the sewage scandal. There's a sewage scandal.
The Potomac River. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
We got US, Venezuela, we got Iran, we got what's going on in Southeast Asia with China. Look.
There'll be lots of trust me. There's going to be environmental damage in some of the Asian countries that we don't look at as well.
At this rate, the UK is going to be one of the Western countries that is least fucking contaminated, and that's saying something considering how contaminated we fucking are.
Let's end on a positive because we've only got a couple of minutes left here, chat. I know we were a bit late, but let's touch on this story here. Gives us some positive news. I'll share the other two stories that we did have time for as well before we head out as well. But this one from The Guardian here. London, San Francisco and Beijing achieve remarkable reductions in air pollution. Cycle lanes, electric cars and other interventions have helped 19 global cities slash levels of pollution by more than 20%.
See, this is what things are happening.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear, Cheech.
It's salmon started to come back to the river 15 years ago. Oh, lovely. That's good. That's good to hear. Let me read a little bit into this, guys. So London, San Francisco, and Beijing are among 19 global cities to have achieved remarkable reductions in air pollution. Analysis has found having slashed levels of 2 airway aggravating pollutions by more than 20% since 2010. 2010. What happened in that year? Why did the coalition have to get credit for that? The analysis found interventions such as cycle lanes, uptake of electric cars, and restrictions on polluting vehicles had helped to drive the improvements. Beijing and Warsaw, that's Poland for people who don't know, topped the ranking for cleaning up fine particle pollution.
The particulate pollution, yeah.
Reducing levels by more than 45%.
Nice.
Amsterdam and Rotterdam saw the greatest improvement in nitrogen dioxide with cuts of more than 40%. That's really good as well.
This is really good news.
Yeah. San Francisco was the only U.S. city that cut levels of both pollutions by more than 20%, according to the analysis of nearly 100 cities around the world. China and Hong Kong are home to 9 of the 19 cities, with European cities making up the rest. Quote, this report shows that cities can achieve what was once thought impossible, cutting toxic air pollution by 20 to 45% in a little over a decade. This isn't just happening in one corner of the world. From Warsaw to Bangkok, cities are proving that we have the tools to solve this crisis right now. Burning fossil fuels releases toxic gas and harmful particles that are among the biggest threats to human health. The smallest of these particles can pass into the bloodstream and spread through the body, damaging organs from the brains and to the genitals, while nitrous dioxide hurts the airways and reacts from water to form acid rain. And we literally touched on acid rain because of what was happening in the Middle East as well. The report shared exclusively with The Guardian looks at air quality. Just keeping an eye on the time, guys. Sorry. Most large cities, also some smaller ones, such as Heidelberg in Germany, found substantial reductions can be achieved within 15 years through deliberate action. They highlight examples of actions that can help to clean the air, such as China's rapid switch from combustion engine cars to electric ones. The expansion of
fast rate too.
Yeah, the expansion of cycle lanes in dense European cities, London restrictions on dirty waters, and Warsaw shift away from coal to wood home heating. It did not explore the causal chain to distinguish between air quality improvements and local policy versus natural ones. This is people who have been. This is a sign of good politicians with the resources and powers that they need to make the necessary changes in order to reduce air pollution. This is very good stuff.
And it proves what I've been saying. The trend is moving in the right direction. Things are happening.
Air pollution is often presented as a problem, and it's too difficult to solve, and that one is politically unpopular. Air pollution scientist says this report shows that bold politics can improve the air that we breathe. I'll just come to this last bit at the end, guys. In the last 10 years, we have learned that air pollution is linked to cohesive decline and dementia in old age, he added. All of these illnesses extend a massive toll on families, hampering our economies as people are off work, ill, and or looking after others, and extend a direct cost on our health service. All of these illnesses are preventable there.
It's good to see that what I've been talking about isn't just a lot of crap.
No, and
I've been vindicated.
Yeah. So the other two stories, guys, we ran out of time to cover. I'll just share them with you guys. The links for them are in the description if you want to have a read yourself here. It's not the exact one you had, Pagan, but it's similar to it. I think it was there. The planet just got incredibly close to breaching landmark global warming target there. The target of the 2015 Paris Agreement was to keep global temperatures to less than 1.5 degrees above pre-industry levels. And in February, the planet was just 0.1% shy of that. That's a story.
We're going to break that soon.
Yeah, we are going to break that soon.
The goal really is to try and keep it below 2.5 degrees rise. The temperatures are going to rise anyway. As I said before, there is no reversing climate change. There is only mitigating and adapting to it.
And apologies for the huge amount of ads here on MSN here, But the story we have here is that the Greens concerned about potential loss of environmental functions in the new mega ministry. So just to read a tiny bit into it, the officials advised the government that this new mega ministry risks losing environmental functions and perspectives following the establishment of the Ministry for the Environment. The Green Party believed it would weaken the environmental advice and experts, but the Minister for the Environment insists no statutory obligations would change, as it would be transferred over to the new ministry there. There's that story as well there. Need to read more into that one there. But obviously the Greens will any kind of changing. To be fair, the Greens haven't been saying too much negativity about Labour when it comes to the environment.
It's just there's not much to complain about. I mean,
no,
yes, like Labour have to make some concessions when it comes to the environment for growth, for economic growth, and I hate to say that as an environmentalist, but it's true. However, they are trying to mitigate those any damages that are made, and like they are coming through with their promises when it came to green energy and the environment. Like, people saying that they're constantly breaking their promises. I'm sorry, but that's not the case.
They are doing a lot of U-turns, though. That is something. But we will touch on that more.
There's a difference between a U-turn and slightly deviating from the initial plan.
Yeah, and we will touch more on that next week at the round table for sure, guys.
We will.
We will indeed. Yeah. But guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who came along tonight. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you, Viper Scott, for the gifted memberships, and thank you to everyone who gave super chats tonight to help achieve today's super chat goal. For reference, for the next Eco Flake show, currently scheduled, is on Thursday, the 16th of April. That is the next one. So that will be about a couple of weeks. Yeah. So that'll be in about a month's time, guys. So yeah. Obviously the reason why it was 2 weeks ago was big. This 2 weeks ago, we had one just 2 weeks ago. Obviously, like I said, I didn't want to miss out on. I think I had a holiday, didn't I, last month? And then the original date was we couldn't do it for whatever reason, and my camera's assigned to play up at the worst possible time. Now I just saw having glitching and whatnot. Just quickly, guys, before I go, just to remind you guys, I will say it tomorrow morning's live stream. Good morning live stream. God, I've got so much to do. It's going to be insane. Guys, do check out One Angry Pagan's YouTube channel. Right, stop that camera. Stop it.
Wow.
Oh God. Do check out One Angry Pagan's YouTube channel, and I'll be live tomorrow at 11 o'clock for the Good Morning Show. Also, the camera's bloody camera. I'll be live with the Good Morning Show at 11 a.m. Phil Morehouse will be going live on his live stream at 12 on his YouTube channel at 12 o'clock. At 1 o'clock will be Witchy Goth for 2 hours there. So do check out Witchy Goth's live stream there. Also, Dave McGuinness will be having his morning paper rounds at 10:30. So if you're up before 11, do check out his show there, or he'll put you on the naughty step. At 3 o'clock, I will have, for 2 hours, I'll have the 3-year anniversary show on the YouTube channel. We'll do some fun stuff for 2 hours there. So do come and join me for that. And then at 5 o'clock will be Daily Blase's Friday Frolics. So do check that out as well. A. Thompson will be live.
Graham Hughes, Politics Social, it will be on from his island at random points throughout tomorrow.
Yes, if you have no other live streams to watch, you can always just put that on in the background as well. A. Thompson will be live at around 7 o'clock as well. And then Max Robespierre at 8:30 as well. So there's lots of live streams going on tomorrow. So hopefully I will catch you guys tomorrow as well. On your way out, if you can, please hit that like button, share across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'm going to just play the same video that we played at the start here. So there we go. And enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. And thank you so much for watching. Much appreciated it. Take care and good night, guys.